beautiful Charlene Wells here in New York today as she tells you about the 80s woman. Plus, live in our studio, Desi Arnaz Jr.
And also today, the special world of daytime's youngest stars, New York's soap babies, how they're cast and how their TV moms and dads learn to love them.
When we work with them, it's their scene.
All right, she looks pretty good, doesn't she? Nice to have her here in town. And congratulations to Charlene Wells. Now, Katie Kelly's been interviewing those babies you see in the soap operas. Yes, they are real live babies, and they have mothers. And Katie, what's going on sets like
Well,
that?
now, look, you know that being a star isn't easy, Regis. I know you know that. Especially it isn't easy if you're expected to shine right before your nap or be lovable right before a feeding. Well, what's a surrogate soap parent to do with a cranky cast member? How do they get along with these starry-eyed little scene stealers? Well, it's not exactly a day at the beach.
Baby love, my baby love, I need you, oh, I need you.
Well, everybody thinks their baby has all the right stuff, and all, of course, are stars in their own right. But some kids really work at it on the soaps.
Search for Tomorrow was looking for a little boy his age with his color hair and color eyes. And she set us up for an audition, and we came in, and he came back for a second, and before we knew it, he got it.
Well, Irene Schubert may be the real mother of 7-month-old Chad, but when on the set of Search for Tomorrow, actress Sherry Mathis takes on the role, and she freely admits it's a tough act to follow.
Contrary to popular belief, it is not all wonderful. They're wonderful. Kids are wonderful. And they have a way of keeping our feet on the ground. Yeah. But when we work with them, it's their scene. I mean, you can rehearse something, you have your intent that morning, but when they come into the scene, which is usually not until tape, it becomes their scene. They control everything.
Peter Bergman, All My Children's dashing Dr. Cliff Warner, plays Daddy, too. 3-and-a-half-year-old Matthew McNamara has been his TV tyke since the tender age of 3.5 months. And like any parent, Peter eventually learned the tricks of the trade.
First of all, when he does show up, I ask the wardrobe people, who are the first to know he arrived, to tell me. I come to his dressing room, and we play in his dressing room long before we go on the set. Gives me time to be very, very comfortable with him, and of course him time to be comfortable with me. Sometimes it backfires because we get into games, and he wants to play the games on the set. But that's not usually a big problem because energy-wise, we don't have to worry about him after that.
You're all set, all right. You got that. Here's a stethoscope. You don't want to do that again? What do you want to do? You want to check my temperature? Is that what you want to do? Okay. Well, how long do I have to keep it in? How long do I have to keep it in?
Okay, so where do soap babies come from? And how are these cherubs chosen? All My Children's casting director, Joan Dancheco, tells us it's a pretty tough call.
You know a few months ahead of time, of course, that somebody's going to have a baby. I start to talk to the managers who deal almost exclusively with children and babies because they know what the requirements are. I try to get the prettiest, or the most like maybe the actor whose child he will be, and also the happiest and the healthiest. You have to be sure that going into a strange, big, noisy, lit surrounding won't frighten them. You find that you can understand a child that has instincts. I mean, I can now pick them out. And I have a theory about children and acting, and that is that there are children who are actors, and then there are actors who happen to be children. Now, what you're looking for is the second, because then you have something upon which to grow.
I don't know. I guess every mother's proud. Everybody thinks their kids are cute, and that's basically why I did it.
Kid loved that.
Oh, is that kid cute? Well, before you go gathering up all those adorable 8x10s, there are some very stringent rules and regulations that apply in New York State. Number 1, the child must be a minimum of 3 months old to be castable. 2, must come complete with permits from, listen to this, state, city, and the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children. Get this, the kid must be a dues-paying member of AFTRA. And 4, no one works without a trained nurse, a crib, and a room of one's own. 5, they are strictly limited to about 2 minutes at a time in front of the cameras. 6, can spend a total of only 1 hour a day on the set. And finally, a parent must be present at all times. At this rate, I think it's wiser to consider medical school. They're really tough on
A
the
lot
kids.
of rules and regulations.
Yeah.
We should have those.
Oh, absolutely. I don't have a crib of my own in my room.
I do.
I barely have a room of my own.
Interesting story. Thanks, Katie. All right, back with more of New York Style in just a moment.